Yeah, guys. What we discussed in the yesterday's class, guys? So, what we discussed in the yesterday's class?
Introduction of AWS.
Introduction on AWS, right? So, today we'll discuss about the AWS Cloud. Okay. So, today we'll discuss about the AWS Cloud. So, what we discussed in the yesterday's class, we discussed about introduction to cloud computing. What is cloud computing? Why we need to go for cloud computing? History and horizons of cloud computing. Characteristics of a cloud computing, types of cloud services. So right, so today we'll discuss about yesterday the basic core components is completed, right? So today we'll discuss about the AWS. Who are the cloud providers, guys? Who are the cloud providers? Amazon, yeah, Amazon company created AWS, and Azure, Microsoft company created Azure, Oracle company created OCI, IBM created IBM Cloud, and GCP, Google GCP, right? These all are the Alibaba, these all are the cloud services. Yeah. So today, the module 2, we'll discuss about the introduction to AWS. So what is AWS? Benefits of using AWS, history and origins of AWS, AWS components, AWS services, AWS regions, and AWS availability zones and edge locations, and AWS certifications. So what they are providing in the cloud computing, they are providing the computing resources, or they are providing the services. So they are providing the services and solutions. What are those services and solutions? So what is AWS? So what is AWS? Amazon Web Services. AWS is nothing but a Amazon Web Services, or a collection of remote services, or a collection of remote services. What are those services? The core services. What are those core services? Computing services, networking services, storage services, database services. Right? These all are the core services, also called as a web services offered by the Amazon.com over the internet, build and run an application. So if you want to build and run an application, we can use the AWS. So how to build the application, how to deploy the application, for example, Facebook, WhatsApp, whatever it may be. So how you can build it, how you can run on the servers. So Amazon Web Services are the collection of remote services, are also called as a web services offered by the Amazon.com over the internet, build and run an application. Amazon Web Services, robust, scalable, affordable infrastructure for cloud computing. For example, so Elasticity. So Elasticity is nothing but a we can Velocity is nothing but a we can scale up, scale down automatically. Scale up and scale down automatically. For example, guys. For example, so this is my application. This is my website. What this is, for example, this is a Rummy game. Do you know Rummy game? So Rummy is nothing but it's like Pakata. In Telugu, Pakat. So Rummy game. So this Rummy game is deployed on this server. Okay. The U limit of this server is, what is that? U limit. U limit is nothing but a user limit. So what is the user limit of this server? The U limit of this server is, for example, 20K. U limit of this server is, for example, 20K. So here rummy.com. Rummy.com. where our jar is deployed, right? So how many people are connecting to this server? So how many people are connecting to the server? 20,000. 20,000 people will connect this server and access the application, right? So every day, so below 20,000 people are accessing this website. The below 20,000 people are accessing this website. This is in the data center. Where the server is deployed? The server is deployed in the data center. So on weekends, they are conducting the tournaments or something like how we can manage. So in normal days, so how many people are accessing this website? Less than 20K. In the tournaments, they are, yeah, they are conducting 1 lakh people to connect the server. How many people? 1 lakh people. So how many servers we need? 5 servers we need, right? Our application is deployed on the 5 servers. At what time? Weekends only. But these servers are located in where? Data center. If you are using or if you are not using, yeah. So if you are using or if you are not using, definitely we need to pay the money. We need to pay the money, right? So something like and so the load once 20K increases, 20K thousand one people join this company. It automatically routed to second server. So 40,000 one, it routed to another 60,000, 80,000, 1 lakh. So if below 1 lakh, it will goes down to another servers. But the servers are in up and running in the data center, up and running in the center. So we need to pay that money. But in the cloud, what is the cloud slogan, guys? Pay as you go. And they are providing the auto scaling capacity. What is that? Auto scaling and elasticity. What is that? Elasticity. Elasticity is nothing but a scale up and scale down. What is the concept? Scale up and scale down, right? So in the data, in the AWS, there is a feature called as a auto scaling. What is that? Auto scaling. If you configure the auto scaling, if 20,001 people is joined, it will automatically spin up the other server. If 40,000 join, it automatically spin up the other server. If 60,000, it automatically 80,000, 1 lakh. So if people are decreasing, right, it automatically scale up and scale down. So whenever you use the server, right, that time only we can pay. Otherwise, we can shut down. It automatically scale down. So that is the beauty of cloud. So that is the beauty of cloud, beauty of AWS. So and storage also. So storage, if we created a 500 GB storage, but it will sustain, for example, so per day it writes the /aplogs, right? The data writes 10 GB per day. So that 500 GB, how many days it will sustain? 15 days. So from day one onwards, we are paying the 500. The cost for 500. So we'll paying the cost for the 500. So right, but if you are using 10 GB only, so tomorrow 20 GB only, 30 GB, but you are paying the 500 GB per every day from day one onwards. This is the drawback. In the cloud, they introduced a storage concept called S3, that is storage. So whatever it may be a cloud. So whenever you use the space, that storage only we can pay the money. Otherwise, we cannot pay the money. So today you pay 20 GB, 10 GB, tomorrow you pay 20 GB, day after tomorrow you pay 30 GB, right? The cost will be reducing. The cost will be reducing. Here the 500 GB is completed. So we want to extend the another 500 GB. So manually we need to took the hard disk and we need to extend the hard disk to 500. So it will be very difficult in the manual process. But what they are providing, if you can copy the data, petabytes of data. What is that? Petabytes of data. For example, if you want bit 8 bits equal to 1 byte. Okay. So 1024 bytes equal to 1024 bytes equal to 1 MB, 1 KB. So 1024 KB equal to 1 MB. So MB equal to GB. 1 GB, 1024 GB equal to 1 TB. 1024 TB equal to petabytes, PB. Okay. So you can copy petabytes of data without interruption. Without interruption. Network also. When here we need to manually create the networks, but there already predefined network. You can use it. The storage, everything will be predefined. In the everything will be predefined. So the concept is nothing but a elasticity. Elasticity means elastic. So we can scale up, scale down, scale up, or something like extend, shrink. So whenever you want. So whenever you extend the right, that time only we can pay. Right? That is the concept of elasticity, AWS. So EC2 is nothing but a elastic compute cloud. It will be scale down or scale up. Yeah. So Amazon Web Services are the collection of remote services offered by the Amazon.com over the internet, build and run an application. So same data center also we are building and running the application, right? We already deployed the Tomcat and Apache. The same way we can do it on the Amazon also. But what is the difference? So if you want to deploy a server, right, everything will be manual in the data center. So in the cloud, so in one click, it will be creating everything. Right. So Amazon Web Services is robust, scalable, and affordable infrastructure for a cloud computing. AWS provide compute, storage, database services, quickly provisioning, IT needs. So what is AWS? AWS is a set of cloud computing services. What are the set of cloud computing services? What are the basic cloud computing services? Storage, compute, network, and a database. These all are the base, core. AWS is a set of cloud computing services. AWS is a flexible, availability, and scalability. AWS is a elasticity. What is that, guys? Elasticity. Scale up or scale down as needed. We can get the resources instantly. Have you understood? AWS is a fully on demand. So AWS is a fully on demand. Benefits of using AWS pay per use model. Whenever you use that server, right, that time only we can pay the money. So you are only charging for disk space, CPU time, and bandwidth. So you are only charged for the disk space, CPU time, and bandwidth. Instant scalability. Your services automatically scale on the AWS stack. I already told you, right? Scale up if the people, if you select, if you configure as the, if 2000, 20,001 people access that server, it automatically create the another server. Scale up the another server. Your services automatically scales on the AWS stack. Instant scalability. Scale up and scale down. Reliable and redundant. So infrequent outages. So infrequent outages, data is redundant on the cloud. All the services have a built-in security. So security, AWS delivers a scalable cloud computing platform that provides customers with end-to-end security and end-to-end privacy. Most services are accessed via simple REST SOP API. What is that? Website. Most of the services accessible via API means application interface. App, application, website is nothing but a API. Okay. So libraries are available in all major languages, minimal learning curve. It's a minimal learning curve, easy to understand. So easy to understand. Service level agreement, SLA is nothing but a service level agreement. SLA between 99.99 and 100% availability. Amazon S3 maintains the durability of 99.999%. Availability. Available zones exist on isolated fault lines and flood plains, and electrical grids to sustainably reduce the chance of simultaneous failure. Right? Support. AWS provides 24/7 support in the real-time operational status of all the services around the globe. AWS provides 24/7 support in the real-time operational status of all the services around the globe. Understood? History and origins of the AWS. What is the history and origins of the cloud? So grew out of Amazon's needed rapidly provisioning and configure missions of standard configures for its own business. Early 2000, both private shared data centers began using the virtualization to perform the server consolidations. When virtualization starts, so before 2000, they were using physical servers only. There is no virtual machines before 2000. So after 2000, they started the virtualization to perform the server consolidation. Internal memo by Cheris Pingham describing the infrastructure service for the world. Okay. S3 first deployed in spring, EC2 is fall, elastic block storage is available. 2006 EC2 started. I will show you. Okay now. Elastic block storage is available. Amazon EC2 now offers Windows 2008. 2009 RDS started. 2012 DynamoDB. 2013 they introduced the enhances. They enhances the services. So the basic services are the core services are networking, storage, database, compute. Okay. So various components of AWS, AWS Cloud Computing Platform. What is that? AWS is the global infrastructure. AWS is the global infrastructure. There will be availability zone, regions, and edge locations. So I will tell you this. Okay. So what are those foundation services? Compute, storage, database, and networking. Application platform services, content distribution, messaging, parallel processing, and libraries, SDKs. Management and administration, administration console, identity and access, deployment and workflow, monitoring. This will be in the administration management. The big picture of the AWS. What are the services are in the which layer? Okay. So it's a AWS is the global infrastructure. What is that? AWS is a global infrastructure. What are the services available? The foundation services are compute, storage, database, and networking. What are the foundation services? They started with the compute service, storage service, database service, and networking services. So what are those? The compute services, there is a EC2, auto scaling, storage S3, EBS, Amazon Storage Gateway, and Amazon Glaciers. Database, Amazon RDS, Amazon DynamoDB, Amazon SimpleDB, Amazon Elastic Cache. Networking, Amazon VPC, Elastic Load Balancing, Amazon Route 53, AWS Direct Connect. Okay, what are the application services? Such queuing, content delivery, notification, parallel processing, email, workflow, libraries, and SDKs. So identity and access. So deployment and management. In the deployment and management, identity and access, administration interface, monitoring, deployment and automation. Monitoring, deployment and automation. This is the big picture of the AWS. What they are providing. They are providing the foundation services, application services, deployment and management services. Okay. So AWS services. Amazon provides the various types of services as EC2. What is that? EC2. C2. What is C2? CC. ECC is nothing but a EC2. Okay. Elastic Cloud Computing. So what they are providing? What they are providing the VMs, virtual private servers are virtual machines. Okay. Similar to a standard VPCs and are called as a instance. So what we are calling? We are calling as a instances. So in virtualization, we call it as a VM. So a VM is nothing but a instance in the AWS. In the AWS, what we call it as a VM is nothing but a instance. VM is nothing but a instance. So available in variety of sizes, 613 MB to 64 GB of RAM. All major operating systems supported. So what is that? S3. S3 is nothing but a simple storage service. Simple storage service is nothing but a S3. S3 is a cloud storage, highly scalable. Some campaigns have PBs of data, highly available. Data is stored in multiple data centers because of DR. Okay. RDS. What is RDS? Relational database services. So what are the relational database services? They provided as a service. So they installed the OS, then they installed the OS, the Oracle DB or MySQL DB, PostgreSDB, DB2 DB. These install those and they give it as a service. So everything will be provided as a service, RDS, relational database services, MySQL, SQL, Oracle databases, variety of sizes, high availability, available for an extra cost, read replication, shared backups. Okay, these are providing in the RDS. What are the Route 53 DNS? So high availability works well with AWS services, fast and secure. So Route 53 means DNS. So Facebook.com, WhatsApp.com, right? I already DNS domain naming services. BLUJAY these all are the DNS names. How we can convert from IP address to server having the IP address 192.168.56.101. But we are seeing in the application like HTTP colon double slash 192.168. We are seeing, right? But we are using the server as a host name, DNS name. But so the end user will not remember the IP addresses. So we need to create the cache. What is the who will create the cache names in the AWS? Route 53. Okay. So highly availability works well with other AWS services, fast and secure, pay for zone and million queries. CloudFront and content delivery network use a number of global edge locations, fast pay per GB for data transfer, Glacier data archiving, DynamoDB, Elastic Memcache. These all are the services. Glacier is the storage service, cheaper storage. Okay. For example, yeah, I will tell you. EBS, Elastic Block Storage. That storage will use only for the installing the OS. So we used the insta VMs. We took the EBS volume. Which volume? The hard disk volume, right? So and S3 storage uses different volume. So for installing the OSS, launching the instances, we use the EBS, Elastic Block Storage. That storage will be a very cost compared to the Glacier. Because of, for example, standard Glacier are there. Standard is nothing but, for example, banking transactions. So, so you are using the transactions. You are getting the statement, bank statement, for example, for last 1 month or last 6 months. So you are getting the bank statements. So for last 1 year, last 2 years, last 5 years. It is a frequently or so once a while. For example, you want a 5 years data, na? So how many times you are accessing that 5 years data? It's one time, once a while. But from last 1 month, last 2 months, so many times. So that IOPS, input and output. If you give the query, right, we need to get the statement. So if you want to get it speed or if you want to get it slow. So Glacier is the cheapest storage to store the data. So for example, so after 180 days or 360 days, so we need to store the data from one location to another location because of, so we are not using that storage. So we will use once a while. So that's the reason we are moving that storage from high IOPS storage to low IOPS storage. The low IOPS storage is a Glacier. Glacier is the cheapest storage. Okay. So what are the AWS services? So AWS services are something like EC2 service, storage services, right? The services, networking. So the services are Amazon EC2, ECR, Elastic Container Services, okay, Container Registry, Container Services, Elastic Beanstalk, Lambda, Auto Scaling, IAM, KMS, S3 Storage, SCS, RDS, Aurora. DynamoDB, Elastic Cache, SQS, SNS, AWS setup functions, Amazon Cloud Watch, Amazon Cloud Formation, Cloud Trail, Amazon API Gateway, Elastic Load Balancing, Content Flow, Cloud Front End, Amazon Kinesis, Kinesis Route 53. So we have many number of services. For example, AML, satellite, okay, media services, gaming development. They are introduced every services. 2006 they started. They slowly enhanced their features as a service. Okay. So when it was, what is the cloud history of the 2002 internally launched, and 2003 Amazon infrastructure is one of the core strength idea to market. So 2004 launched publicly with SQS. So in 2006 relaunched publicly with SQS, S3S, EC2. So in 2007 they introduced as in the Europe. So what are the use cases? Dropbox, Airbnb, NASA, Netflix, these all are using the AWS cloud. Okay, they're using the AWS cloud. What is AWS? AWS is the cloud provider. They provide with you with servers and services that you can use on demand and scale easily. AWS has revolutionized IT over the time. AWS powers some of the biggest websites in the world. Amazon, Netflix, these all are the deployed in the AWS only. AWS cloud number fact. In 2019, AWS has 35.0 billion in annual revenue. AWS accounts for 47 of the market in 2019. Pioneer and leader of the AWS cloud market for the year of ninth consecutive year. Overall, 10 lakhs active users are there. How many users? 10 lakhs active ad users. AWS cloud use cases. AWS enables you to build sophisticated scalable applications applicable to a diverse set of industries. Use case includes enterprise IT, backup, storage, big data, analytics, website hosting, mobile, social app, aiming, everything will be deployed under the AWS. Okay. So what are the clients? McDonald, 21st Century, Activision, Netflix, these all are the clients. So global infrastructure. So what is the global infrastructure? I already told you, right? EMEA, AMER, EMEA, AMER, APAC. EMEA, AMER, APAC. So Asian Pacific and Europe and Middle East and North America, South America, right? These all are the, there will be deciding. Okay. So AWS cloud infrastructure, global infrastructure. So AWS first we need to learn the AWS region, then availability zones, then the AWS data centers, AWS edge locations and points of presence. So what these are? These all are the regions. Regions will be over the globe. So regions are something like Gov Cloud, North California, Canada, Gov Cloud, North Virginia, Ohio, Ireland, London, Spain, Milan, Paris, Frankfurt, and Scotland. Okay. I will tell you. Okay, AWS regions. What is that? First is the regions. AWS has regions all around the world. What are those? AWS has regions all around the world. Name can be US East 1 or U West 3 or AP South 1, AP South East 1, right? The same like as a. The name call it as a EU East 1, EU West 3. A region is a cluster of data center. What is the region, guys? A region is nothing but a cluster of data centers. So names can be used East 1, West 3. A region is also a region is a cluster of data centers. Most AWS services are region scoped. Most AWS services are region scoped. I will tell you. So every region having, I will tell you. What are those? These are the when you log into the AWS account, right? The regions are US East, North Virginia, US Ohio, North Carolina. So where you want to deploy your application, where you want to build your AWS infrastructure. Okay. AWS has a regions all around the world. Names can be US East 1, US 3. A region is a cluster of data. Most AWS services are region scoped. So how to change an AWS region? Compliance, promexity, available services and pricing. Based on this, it will be vary. So availability zones. You said right? What is zones? What is availability zone? Availability zone region. So region something like availability zone. So each region has many availability zones. Each region has, for example, North Virginia. North Virginia is the US East one. So that region having the many availability zones. What is that? So each region has many availability zone, usually 3, min 2, max 6. Example, AP Southeast to A, AP Southeast to B, AP Southeast to C. These all are the regions. What is the region, guys? Region is 2. Okay. So each availability zone is one or more discrete data centers with redundant power and networking connectivity. So this is the AP Southeast is the region. AP Southeast to A is the region. AP Southeast to A, to B, to C. These all are the regions. So you see, so each there are separate from each other, and so that they are isolated from disasters. They are recommended with a high bandwidth and high low latency networking people. Okay, AWS points of presence. Amazon has 216 points of presence 205 edge locations, regional locations in 80 cities across 42 countries. Okay, so content delivery to end users with lower latency. Okay, so what is points of presence, edge location? So for example, uh, the servers, the infra is cheaper than India, cheaper than US. The India infra is cheaper than US. US is cheaper than India. For example, I want to launch my website in the US region because of it is very cheap compared to India. Okay, I'm launching my infra in the US and I want to deploy my applications. So who are accessing that website? Indian people. Definitely we need to connect from here to there in the network latency, right? So that's the reason there is the edge location. Edge location is nothing but, for example, Hyderabad data center, whenever data center, they created the same setup in here also. The first time when you are such, right, the first time will goes to the US data center and copy it to our local edge locations. So the other time, the next time you will access that server, right, it will not goes to the US, it will goes to the edge locations or points of presence. Understood? This is nothing but a AWS. Okay. So these are the services. Regions you already know, right? Regions are completely isolated from each other and are in different parts of the world. And AWS regions is a collection of data centers availability zones. Each region has a set of number of availability zones. All availability zones in connected by a high bandwidth. Cost vary from region to region. Default region is US East. So you already know the data centers availability zones. Education you already know. Certifications, associate level and professional level. There are two types of certifications. So one is association level and the other one is the professional level. So AWS Solution Certified Solution Architect Associate, AWS Certified Solution Architect Associate. So what I did, guys, AWS Certified Solution Architect Associate. So what I did this one. So what is the professional? AWS Certified Solution Architect Professional. So we need to write the AWS Certified Solution Architect Professional. Okay. So this is for AWS Certified Developer Associate, AWS Certified GitHub Administration Associate, AWS Certified DevOps Engineer Professional. What is that, guys? AWS Certified DevOps Engineer Professional. So Solution Architect, Developer, and System Operators. Guys, understood? This is nothing but a AWS. Guys, the task is you guys can create a AWS account, guys. Try with in your own, something like you can watch it on YouTube or you can watch it on Google. You guys can try to sign up the AWS console access, or otherwise I will show you. Guys, please practice, please try to install the AWS OS. Okay, AWS account. Okay, thank you guys. So we'll continue from tomorrow. So what we will discuss tomorrow? Elastic Compute Cloud, Introduction to AWS EC2. So now we discussed about the AWS edge locations, regions, edge location, regions, availability zones, data centers, and edge locations. Okay, okay guys. So we'll continue from tomorrow. Okay, thank you.